everybody, welcome to Strumming with Christopher. I'm Christopher Gallegos with Monterey County Free Libraries, Gonzales Branch. So last episode we talked about the 1-4-5 progression, which was that progression that you hear in a lot of old rock songs from the 50s and 60s. Use the E major bar chord shape I taught you and the A major bar chord shape I taught you. So today I want to share with you all another chord progression that you can dig into using your bar chord shapes that you've been practicing, I hope. And this one is called the 2-5-1 progression. So again, that's a very technical 2-5-1. Last time I was able to talk to you about what the 1-4-5 meant, and it had to do with a major scale. And a 2-5-1 is also related to a major scale, but in a different way. So the main thing you need to know for this is we're not going to start with a major chord. We're actually going to start with a minor chord. And I picked this progression for that reason, since you can start using one of the minor bar chord shapes I taught you in a progression. So this chord progression only has 3 chords, kind of like the first one I showed you. But this one's a little bit more interesting because it comes up a lot in jazz. Comes up in a lot of different types of music, but in jazz there's always this sense of tension, kind of like there's something musically unresolved. Now the 1-4-5 is very, very happy and it's pleasing. You can play it in the loop. Go down. You can play that at a campfire or something and people would love it, but 2-5-1 is a little bit different. So I want to show you the main example I'm going to show you today. And again, you can move this shape all up and down the fretboard. That's kind of the point here. But this one's a little bit more mysterious and unresolved, but still has a nice sound to it. So we're going to start, in this case, with a D minor chord. Okay, and I'll get into the shapes again as a review, but it'll sound like this, what we're going to do here. Time now. Okay, so there's something a little bit more enigmatic about that one. And so using these shapes that we already know, we're actually going to start getting an ear for different styles of music, jazz in particular. Now jazz is very, very difficult to play, and that was something that I tried to do when I was playing my heavy metal stuff, and I was trying to kind of sneak it in there, and it didn't always work, you know. It's complicated, but the general, what would you say, the general structures of jazz are based on these things that we're learning, and they just add more notes, essentially. So in this case, we're going to start with this 3-chord progression, 2-5-1, without getting too technical. Music theory is for another day. Okay, and so for this example, I want to reacquaint you with the minor bar chord shape I showed you, the A minor bar chord shape with a root note here on the A string. So in this case, we're at fret number 5. Our bar is here at fret number 5, and this is a D minor chord. So remember that index finger when you're doing this A minor shape down here. You always start with your bar. This time it's on the 5th fret, very near that fret wire. Finger kind of rolled to the side a little bit if you can. And then you're going to have your pinky on fret 7, G string. And your ring finger also on fret 7 on the D string. You can tell I'm having a look too. And you're going to have your index finger on the 6th fret on the B string. So this is kind of your bass shape. Now remember, you want to have your thumb nice and tight behind this shape on the neck here. Kind of have that little squeeze going. Don't squeeze so hard your hand cramps, but have it supported, okay? So that's your D minor chord shape. Now remember, you're not going to play this low E shape when you're strumming this. You're going to try to avoid it. So whether you have a pick or not, I don't have a pick today, when you're playing this, you're not going to strum all 6 strings. Hopefully, as you've been practicing, you've been trying to learn that kind of strum where you consciously avoid that low E if you're not fretting it. Okay, so here's that D minor chord, which is going to start us out, and this is our 2 chord in this progression, like the number 2 essentially. So I'll play it. I'm going to show you I'm going to use one of the old strumming patterns I showed you early on, where it's counting 1, 2, 3, 4, but up and down. Okay, so real slow, up, down, 4 count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so, okay, very, very basic, right? So what I'm going to do here, we're going to do this D minor shape, and then we're going to go to a G major shape and a C. And what's going to be different about this one, this is where that tension kind of comes in. We're going to play 4 count on the D minor, 4 count on the G major, and then on the C, we're going to play it for 8 beats. So, and there's where that tension is, because you kind of want that to resolve in a way. You'll kind of see what I mean. So let's remember real quickly, we have our D minor shape. Now remember this G major shape bar chord here. So in this case, your bar finger is going to be all across the 3rd fret. Then you're going to make an E major shape here. So that is your ring finger on the 5th fret, right below that, 5th fret on the A string, right below that D string, pinky, okay, and then you're going to have your, on the 4th string, you're going to have your middle finger on the G string. It'll look like that. Okay, that's your G major bar chord shape. And we already know this, but it's helpful just for the example, okay. So that's the one we're also going to play 4 times. And then our final shape will be this, go down again to another A shape, A major. And remember, this is the one where you're kind of doing 2 bars in a sense. So you're really only using 2 fingers for this. You're going to have your 3, so this is actually 3. Then you can just move the bar down to where you're not barring the low E, bar those first 5. And then you're going to have your ring finger essentially barring down the D string, G string, and B string. And this high E is kind of muted here, just naturally, and that's your C. Okay, so once you have those 3 chord shapes, then I want to just show you this progression real quick and with this example, and then you can just move it all around. So remember, alternate strum, up, down, to a 4 count on this D minor, and then 4 count on this G, and then 8 count on this C, and you'll hear the progression. So I'll do it once counting so you can follow along, and then I'll play it without counting. Okay, so check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Faster. Okay, so that's the kind of a chord shape, has a little mysterious, unresolved quality to it. So you can just try that strum or different strums. We had that muted strum a while back. Or you can even finger pick it with that finger picking pattern I showed you. Sky's your oyster. Sky's your oyster. World's your oyster. What is wrong with me? It's that kind of month, that kind of year, huh? Sky's your oyster. Do I live in a crazy world? So yeah, and what's interesting is once you get this sound, maybe one day we can go over same progression but with jazz chords, just different kinds of notes, but the same kind of thing. It would sound something like. There's that resolution, yeah. So, yeah, I'm showing you the 3 chords, but when you play that C for 8 beats in this example, there's a kind of unresolved feel. And to resolve it, there's a chord you can use to kind of resolve it called a seventh chord, which we might leave for another lesson. But just so you hear how that sounds. Tension, no tension, tension, unresolved, resolved. See, that last chord kind of wraps it all up. And you know what, if you don't hear it initially, that's fine. Just kind of keep your mind wrapped around it. And remember with that example, I was just showing you with D minor, but remember you can move that anywhere you want. So experiment with that. So for example, I'll just show you. Move it down to E minor. That's kind of the whole point of these progressions, is to not keep you trapped in any one space. So I like to show you one particular arrangement, just so you can get a feel for how it sounds. But yeah, it's a different kind of progression, but just something to expand your ear training a little bit and also get you thinking about other genres, because generally when you start playing guitar, it's easy to stick with the stuff that's not that hard, and jazz is a whole beautiful journey. So is classical. There's a lot of different things. Flamenco. But right now we're still learning our basics, but kind of, you know, touching the fringe of different sounds and different journeys. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.